Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. A couple weeks ago my son called and said we need to get together and run RC trucks. But before we go, we need to go to Hobbytown and get you another truck. So here's all the trucks that we had. So we went off to Hobbytown and I picked up an Axial SCX24 Power Wagon. Great little truck. And this video is about putting duals on the back. If you've watched some of my other videos, you'll realize that I have a lot of fun fabricating and making stuff for trucks. So hope you enjoy this. Thanks. Just wanted to show you another idea I had. I just got this Dodge Power Wagon, another 24 scale unit, and I'm trying to keep everything what we call 20 scale. And what I want to do is I want to build some dual wheel adapters like I did on the 6x6 and put them on this this Power Wagon. But in order to do that, I've got, you can see in the factory, we've got the shocks right here, and I'm thinking about possibly working on relocating the shocks to the inside of the frame. I don't know if you can see it in that picture. So that's what I'm working on now, is trying to figure out how to mount this shock inward like this, and then I'll see how much room we have to put the duals on. Here's the dual wheels off of the 6x6, just bolted right on directly. And if you look underneath here, oh, I got enough light here, you can see. It's kind of hard to see the light in there, but take my word for it. The left shock in the stock position is rubbing against that inner dual, but there's really a lot more room in here than that. So I'm thinking if that shock was moved to the inside, we could narrow those duals quite a bit, because you can see these trailing arms and the frame being quite a bit narrower than where the shocks are. So that would allow me to move the duals in and not have them so wide like that. It'd be nice if they were tucked in there just a little bit more scaled. They would look more scaled correctly. So I'm thinking if I work on the shocks, and then I can go back to the CAD and redesign these wheels so that they're in further. And I have some super swampers ordered. You know, these are the super swampers that came with the truck. And you can see that they are pretty wide. By the time you make a dual out of them, they're going to be about that same wide or even wider than the ones on the 6x6. So I think I've got some narrower, more scale size super swampers coming that are not quite this tall, but they're quite a bit skinnier. So it might make a more realistic scale look of the rear duals. Here it is with the front wheels on it too. I'm thinking these front wheels that we got off the 6x6, that they're probably going to work just fine, just like they are. The scale looks right, the offset, the width looks just right. Right now I've got some Baja claws on these, about the same size as the new super swampers are going to be, maybe a little narrower. But I think the front wheels are going to be fine. Maybe I'll print them in like a dark green and put some black lug nuts on them or something for more of a military kind of look. But I think that the front wheels are going to be just fine. Okay, I think I successfully moved these shock mounts to the inside of the frame rail. The hardest part was right here, was getting that screw to screw in from the inside through that mount with the differential in the way, but I was able to get it in there. And I think now with the duals on here, we got more travel because the shocks are closer in, and they don't look like they're binding anywhere. And you can see that as the dual comes up, it misses the frame and has plenty of travel. So I think, oh, these are the old original SCX24 shocks off my C10 with some bigger, heavier springs on them. So it's about the same as what this Power Wagon came with, but the diameters are a little smaller, and the clearance seems to fit pretty good. Another added bonus, and this is probably just luck on my part, by moving these shock mounts to the inside like this of this channel, because of the shape of the channel, as I tighten them up, they automatically just kind of like tipped inward, and then that actually gives more clearance to the shock as it's tipped right there, that the shock is at an angle so it doesn't hit anywhere on that mount. So that was probably mostly luck, but in this case the luck is with us. With the extra travel now, I may have to, you can see as it cycles all the way, the fender well now will hit a little sooner than it used to. Partly with the dual, partly with now that we're able to travel. So I may have to do some modifications on the pickup box, maybe even 3D print some new fenders up higher. They have little wider fenders. Anyway, we'll see how that works. I just got an idea here. Try to get a little more fender clearance. This particular model, the bed and the cab are not molded together, they are actually bolted together right here. And it looks like if I loosen these bolts right here, that this thing has kind of a, you probably could slide it down a little ways, and that would give maybe a little bit more clearance, and it would still look proportionally okay. And even if I had to add some kind of material underneath here to strengthen it, that looks like it might be an easy way just to get a little bit of more fender clearance under there. Okay, let's check the mailbox. There's what we're getting right there. Usually try to cut out the bag so that later on I can seal it up and close it again. Okay, it's getting close here. This definitely dark green, and it is definitely darker than the thing on the truck. I think that's going to be okay. I'll compare that to the truck body. Probably the glare is not making it look like a good thing, but that looks like a good color. So if you can imagine maybe some black lug nuts on there, I think it's going to look okay. Here we are printing 4 of the wheel inserts, or 6 of them at the same time. And it looks like we got about 14 minutes to go. It's been an hour and 44 minutes. So it's about a 2-hour print for 6 of those wheel inserts. Okay, the print is done. Oh, they fell right off. I was thinking I would have to peel them off pretty hard. I have to go pick them up now. Okay, here's all 4 little wheel inserts that go inside the tire for the bead locks. We'll get those all cleaned up and start printing out some more of the rest of the pieces. I just want to take a couple minutes here and talk about wheels. Originally, I got this Atlas 6x6, and it came with these tires and those wheels. They're bead locks, and so my original plan when I made new wheels for it, and here's a wheel off of the Atlas, and you can see what a bead lock consists of. It consists of a ring that goes inside the tire, and then a split rim, one for each side, and as you tighten these 2 halves together, it squeezes the sidewalls of the tire in between that ring. So what I built to reproduce that was this one right here. So it has a ring right here that goes inside the tire, and it has an inside rim, and then the outside rim goes on the outside, and then the bolts go through. The end product is about the same scale as the one that came on my Atlas. And these are the wheels that I'm working on right now. They take the 1.0 tires that are pretty standard for this size of model. And so then when I got the new Power Wagon with the SCX24 from Axial, it also came with bead locks with these tires on it. And so that their bead lock looks like this. Same thing, it's got the split rim with the insert that goes inside the tire. Now that I'm building this, I was comparing it, and I was seeing that physically the Power Wagon rim is a little bit smaller, and maybe even diameter, maybe even a little bit narrower, but anyway, that's what I had to work with. So what I'm doing with these new tires, how they work, is you take this inner ring and you put it inside the tire. Oh, before I even get started, these tires came with foam inserts, which I'm not really sure if I'm going to keep them in there or not, but for now I do. So you put the ring inside the tire like that. You can't see it, but there it is. So you can see it by looking in there that as you squeeze the sidewall in, it's going to hit it against that ring. And then you put the split rim that we just built together like this, like that. And then when you put the bolts through these 6 holes and they squeeze, now you have a bead lock tire that's secured to the rim for what we're going to put on this truck. In the old days, not the old days, but it used to be, is that before bead locks, they would actually glue the tire onto the rim, which was a little bit more work. Actually, it could be a lot more work, and it's made it more difficult to change tires and wheels all the time. So I'm going to proceed to put this one together, see what it looks like on the truck. Before I start, we have 6 bolts, 6 lug nuts. Eventually I want these lug nuts to be black, but these are the only ones I've got right now. But the inner and outer rim, and then the wheel, which I've already put the insert inside of. finished product. I got the two halves together. You can see on the back side, that's just where the black bolts go in. You won't see that. And then you got the front, and it looks like lug nuts. And we'll see if we can put this on the truck. I went ahead and replaced the plastic hex nuts because I thought maybe the plastic ones would be a little weaker, and it'll fit better into the hex that we've 3D printed into the back of the wheel. Get that in there. You see on the back side there that it just fits nice and snug. Just wanted to take a minute and explain how the bead locks work on the duals. You know, when we're done, we'll have these two dual tires, both on the same wheel. It's kind of a double wheel. We got the inner rim, which has the recessed socket heads where the bolts will go into. We have the ring that I showed you before that goes inside of the tire. And if it was inside the tire, it goes on here. So you can see right here where the sidewall will get clamped in between the rim and that inner ring. And then we have a spacer in the middle here, which will then clamp on the other side of the sidewall of the first tire. And then we have the second tire will go on with this other ring that's inside of it. And then we have the outer rim that goes on there. So when you're done, and this thing all bolts together, you have like two bead locks, clamps, side by side here that both tires will fit into, so that when this thing bolts together, it clamps down on both tires. And then once this whole assembly is all together with the tires on it, then it bolts onto the RC truck. Here I've got it assembled. I got some temporary bolts in there for now. Here they are mounted on the chassis, and I made a couple little changes on the back here. This first attempt at the dual just kind of squished these tires together a little too tight on this side, and I think that ends up making them less squishy when you're doing climbing over rocks. So on this side, I spaced it out just a little bit. In fact, if you look in there, you can kind of see the green spacer between the tires. But so now there's a little bit of a gap between the duals, and I think that allows it to squish down a little bit more because the sidewalls can kind of bulge as it does it. Here it is with the white. I don't have it bolted down, but we can get an idea of the clearance. Got the duals in there fairly narrow. Maybe you can see it better from this side. Lots of clearance, like we said before. Super swampers all the way around. Got the matching dual wheel patterns, and what that look is in the dual wheel in the rear looks more recessed, but if you take the same wheel and turn it backwards like you do in real life, it would look like the front one. So that's why trucks look like that with duals on the back, is that this wheel in the original big trucks is the same wheel. You just take that wheel, you bolt two of them together backwards, and they end up looking like that on the back. So that should look fairly real. Just want to show you another thing I just made, kind of out of necessity. The axle nut wrench that came with the models, one is I may have lost it, but I remember it doesn't reach in as very deep, and for these wheels that have the real deep access or recess now, I kind of need it for reaching into there. And for putting this on now, it makes it a lot easier to get that nut started and off again. and then you can just pull it right off. Easy. This is probably as far as I'm going to get till I get the new black nuts, but that'd be a couple days for me, but probably just a few seconds for you. But just got another order in the mailbox. This item I bought on eBay. It should be a collection of a lot of M2 sized parts. Hopefully we'll get the right length of bolts and enough nuts here to do the ever-promised black lug nuts. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can assemble all those wheels again with the right size bolts. Okay, it looks like it worked great. Interesting thing about the dark green with the black bolts is there's not a lot of contrast there. So for a casual observer, you probably won't even see those. So there's the view kind of, if I can get it in the light a little bit. So now you can kind of see the lug nuts in there. There's all 6 of them, but they're black on dark green, so I'm guessing that you won't be able to even see those bolts. But I'm going to go ahead and put together the other wheels, and I'll see how it looks. Thought I'd stop just a minute here and show you the contrast between the black and the CAD plated. Okay, there's the front wheel with the lug nuts on it. Kind of subtle, but kind of military looking, I think. Okay, I think I got all 4 of them all put together. And now we will put them on the truck. Okay, there's the finished product. In some ways, the dark on dark is like not flashy, not obvious, but we know it looks good. And I think that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.